from you, the audience. We're a program of the Kauffman Foundation, which is pretty well known in the Midwest, but they actually support entrepreneurship globally. And 1 Million Cups is a program here in the United States. There's close to 200 chapters in cities around the U.S. So we have an all-volunteer organizer team. There's no fiscal sponsor of 1 Million Cups. And some of our organizers are here today. I'm here, and Cameron is here. Cameron is our lead organizer. And we're always recruiting new people to leadership. So if you're interested in being on the 1 Million Cups team, Cameron is your guy. We don't need much other than our volunteer organizer team, but we need a place to meet and we need coffee to drink, and that is on its way. So our sponsor for both of those things today is Cap City. And would anyone from Cap City like to say anything about the space? Jenny? It was a rough morning, huh?
I know, tell me about it. Hi guys, thanks for coming to Cap City today. We're really excited to have 1 Million Cups and you guys here. Just a little bit of information about Cap City. We are the first co-working space here in Sacramento. We've been around for 10 years. And we are a benefit corporation where we work a lot with nonprofits and helping with entrepreneurs who are just starting out. We have our location here that's 24/7 on 21st Street. We have a location at a lot of breath running at MLK and Broadway. That's going to be opening up our Oak Park location that's set for April. And then a few other things. We not only do co-working, but we have Buffalo Pizza down the street here, which does vegan and breakfast pizzas. And we also own Corn Flour, which has non-GMO, all-organic ice creams, regular and vegan as well. And then, last but not least, I'm bringing out the coffee, and there's bathrooms on the right side here. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so.
Thank you, Jenny. Catch your breath. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started, and Snell is our first presenter, right? Is that right? You can go ahead, come on up. And I think you've been coming to 1 Million Cups since day one, is that right? Or just about? Okay. So there's the clicker. There's the mic.
All right, I have the dubious honor of speaking to everyone before they've had coffee, so I'll try to be gentle, I guess. Are we good?
Yeah, you want to just test it.
Sweet. All right, so I'm here to talk a little bit about Egeria. Our mission is to facilitate the efficient and wise deployment of public funds by reducing barriers to access and increasing accountability. The whole idea of this company actually came from my last startup, where we had the opportunity to raise about $500,000 from the state of California, and it was hands down the worst experience we have ever had in our lives. We had to hire a whole nother company just to deal with that contract, and not from like an execution standpoint, but just from an administrative standpoint. The whole process was ridiculous. So some of the pain points that we found that were not unique to our experience were that startups struggle to work with the government because the sales cycles are really long. Communities struggle to find opportunities because the portals and places that governments post the funding opportunities are ridiculous. They're PDFs on like 12 links down in some weird, obscure government website. It's hard to find. And the folks who do aggregate these opportunities charge quite a bit of money so that people can access them. And so that's just another barrier to access. It's really an unfortunate system that's been outpaced. There's a lot of archaic tools in the space. And so this is clicking weird, so I'm just going to, well, we'll see what happens. Can I go back to, there we go, that works. So what we've developed is a single source of truth for public funding. The idea behind Egeria is to take all of the public funding opportunities that exist and consolidate them into a single space, and then offer that information for free to users in a way that is not only friendly and easy to access, so using modern search tools and modern UX and UI elements so that people understand what they're looking at, but also leveraging AI and smart contracts and a variety of other features to ensure that the experience of working with the government is a lot more like the experience you have when you go and get a product anywhere else these days. You know, it's reducing those barriers to access and making the buying experience and the contracting experience really simple and really efficient. So we have a prototype. I'm gonna give up on that for now. This is what so the market for GovTech is valued at about $400 billion. The space that we're looking at is a system that's broken, but that accepts about $3.2 trillion of economic activity just in the United States alone. So that's what the government spends in contracts, and it's what they put out in grants aggregated together. So we're very excited about this space. There's a huge opportunity. We've been discussing this with the Energy Commission, and we've been discussing this with the state agencies as well as with nonprofits and other folks. And we've gotten a great reception because universally these are pain points. The opportunities are hard to find. It's a space that unfortunately hasn't been privileged enough to find any kind of innovation recently. So we have an awesome team put together of some of the data scientists from VSP. We have our full stack development team that worked on our last startup, which was successful. And we were able to really kind of dive into this space head first. And so we're really excited about the progress we made. We're going to have this up in a prototype here in the summer, in June. So we're going to have all the opportunities, federal, state, and local, for the state of California, which is our beachhead. Here in June, we're going to have that accessible to nonprofits, to community benefit organizations, to entrepreneurs. And we really look forward to supporting the community of folks here who frequently do work with the government or work with other organizations who are leveraging public funding to do really incredible things. One of the really exciting and interesting things about this is the idea that we're able to map the ecosystem of stakeholders for the agencies themselves. And that's really where we're going to monetize this. So similar to what Google does, we're organizing a bunch of information, making it easy to find and easy to access. And then we're going to be taking the data that we get from user engagement and really serving that back to the agencies so that they can efficiently organize funding around legislative initiatives, efficiently organize meetings, efficiently connect with their stakeholders, and use a modern platform and modern tools to really effectively complete their mission, whatever that is. So if it's cleaning up the air or providing, human services, social services to people, we want to empower them to understand their stakeholders and really meet those needs. There's some slides here I do want to show you, if possible. So the place we're targeting for an exit is the management consulting space. So right now, a lot of the agencies, when they seek to put together a project like this, they hire McKinsey, they hire Deloitte, they hire Navigant, they hire Grant Pharma Momentum to help them put together that project. And these folks are increasingly looking to software to streamline their workflows, to provide better services. The management consulting industry itself has been on the receiving end of a lot of disruption recently, and so they're all actively kind of looking to invest in this space. So those are the folks that we've been talking with in terms of an exit down the road, and we're also looking at them as strategic partners. Right now we're raising 250 grand in seed funding via convertible note, and excited to hear your thoughts, questions, or comments. I'll just, if I have a little bit of time, I'll run you through our team real quick, which we are pretty excited about. It's a little weird, but anyways, myself, Hunter Peterson, and Pachio, we've all worked together for about 5 years on a variety of GovTech enterprise SaaS projects. And so we've had a lot of success in both raising funds and bringing enterprise software to market. We have some awesome advisors that include Cody Hansen, Jason Law, who works currently with the Governor's Office of Economic Development, Sadie St. Lawrence, who is the head of data science at VSP Global, Melissa Granville, who is a senior program manager at Capital Impact, Terry Carlone, in-house counsel for Synergex, and Joe Musgrave, who's an entrepreneur and a bit of a sort of stealthy business tycoon. So currently we have about $100 grand in projects in the clients in the pipeline, and our revenue model is based on the following. So the general groups of users, typically entrepreneurs, nonprofits, and all those folks will be able to access this information for free. And then we will be providing aggregate data products to management consulting firms for a recurring monthly fee, and then providing the full suite of data and stakeholder engagement tools to government agencies. So yeah, that is Egeria. Sorry about the slide.
Yeah, so this is a new system that we're working with, and we haven't done it with PDF before, is what I understand the issue was. So sorry if I missed it. I get to ask the first question. What is your revenue model? Okay, so a company would subscribe to your service. It's a monthly fee of what?
So for basic kind of reporting and data, it would be about $3,500 a month. And then for government agencies, it's $7,500 a month.
All right. So I'll open it up to general questions, and we're going to try and capture those on the mic. So.
So just piggybacking on Laura's question, what kind of customer validation have you done on the payer side?
So we've worked specifically with the City of Sacramento and the Energy Commission and DGS on a lot of that. And I mean, they're really excited about it. Basically, they said if we pull it off, they'll buy it.
Hey, so really interesting concept. I think. Well, I was wondering what your opinion or views on the market with regards to Accenture using a lot of blockchain stuff, and how you're going to potentially incorporate that into kind of the smart contracts, and how you're kind of changing that to see a real transparency of transactions and understanding those contracts at a kind of bigger global new tech type perspective.
Yeah, so, in working with the agencies, we see the smart contracts as being something innovative we can bring to the table. Unfortunately, especially with a lot of the agency views and comptroller views on how contracts need to be put together, that's probably not something that realistically we'll be able to bring to market for a while. And that's just an unfortunate feature of bureaucracy. So we hope to have that feature available, but it's not something we see rolling into the government space in the next 3 years even, just because, the state of California still requires wet ink signatures on stuff. It's bizarre. So, yeah.
So to piggyback on the revenue model, so you're going to get money from having a certain number of users that make it valuable for the people that are collecting the data to make it worthwhile. So on the user side, can you elaborate more on that about how are you getting those users, and what kind of level are you looking at as a threshold for them to be satisfied to start looking at you?
Yeah, so the users, the free users that we want to come on board, typically we're approaching them through a couple of different avenues. One is we are breaking down a huge barrier in terms of removing brokers who currently aggregate and sell this information. So probably pretty aggressive bidding against those folks advertising, as well as having access. Some of our sales team, we've actually sniped over from some of those companies, and so having access to those people, just generally through our network as well, and saying, hey, you can get the same level of service for free, so why not? Oh, in terms of like the data products themselves, so we haven't dialed that in, so I can't give you a clear answer on that yet. Yeah.
Just for my clarification, your product is aggregated data for available grants or funds, or?
Yeah, grants, contracting opportunities, so grants, bids, and then we're also looking at like private endowments and corporate giving as well. But it's going to be focused on the government space first.
Are you going to be, I know that applications for the government can sometimes be quite involved. And as you said, they have to go down 10 or 12 different levels. But in the actual filling out of the application, I've never done it, but I hear they're quite stringent and exacting. Are you helping with that too?
Yes, so we do plan on having a full kind of grant management system involved as like a module within the platform. And on the flip side, also something that's being done a little bit by some of our competitors is just templating out the application process and digitizing it so it's not so terrible. So we plan on offering that as well as something that the agencies can use to maybe streamline their application process and putting in logic to, create gates and keep out bad applications.
So what kind of budget or size nonprofit are you targeting? Like their level of, we don't call it revenue in the nonprofit world,
We would like them all.
but 3,500 is expensive for a startup or a nonprofit with
Right,
no
so
money.
the nonprofits would be using this for free, as would,
Oh, okay, I misunderstood.
yeah,
So I can use it with
yes.
Startup SAC.
Please use it.
So it's the people who are paying are the ones who have the money to give?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. I like your idea better now. So. Also, there is some coffee in back if anyone wants to get up and get some.
So maybe not so much a question, but more to tie in confusion maybe from people. So the data that you're selling is Laura's, right?
Yes, exactly.
I'm not sure if everybody understands that or not.
But we'll also be selling agency data, so there is an aspect of allowing agencies to efficiently collaborate as well, because they need to understand what they're doing to avoid ending up in some situations where they leave assets on the table or invest in projects that don't get follow-on funding. So we're aggregating and selling and developing a data product that involves everyone who's using the platform, really.
The key, I think, is that the data space is so complicated that the people that have gotten into it is because they've been wanting to make a buck off of it. And we're trying to alleviate that from everybody. So the citizens and people who are wanting to start things have better access to information. So you're one of those cogs within the machine of trying to break apart the system.
Mm-hmm.
So very good. I like it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Just a follow-up to my earlier question about customer validation. You said if you pulled it off, they'd pull the trigger. Can you tell me what pulling it off means?
Yeah, so some of the challenges, one of the big challenges with this is simply getting the information. There's probably 90% of it is pretty accessible via typical data aggregation tools, so APIs, some kind of web scraping. That there's 90% of it is pretty accessible, but there's a 10% that so far has been really hard for people to crack, and that's like, the city of Wasco has a bid to like build IT infrastructure for their public school system, and it's on like page 34 like links down in some weird website. So that is the space where we're really trying to bring some innovation to. We're using some unique machine learning and web scraping tools to really dive into some of those like deep spaces, and then also leveraging a network of contractors that we've built out who understand, like, have specialties in certain areas. And so as we expand nationally, that's going to be a real like hurdle for us to overcome, and we're hoping to address that in the next couple months here. But that's something that, you know, that's really where the agencies look at us and they're like, we think you could maybe do that, but probably not. And so that's like kind of our big hurdle, is to address that. Yes. Yeah, we actually have really good information that, for example, and I won't name the agency, but we broke it down with 3 or 4 of their senior staff, and they said that something like this would save them around $100 million a year in productivity and just staff time. So.
What's your roadmap look like? When do you plan to launch?
So we're going to have a beta out here in June, and then plan to start delivering on the data products in October.
Who are you seeking funding from, and are there people going to fund you before your beta? Do you need funding to get to beta?
We would love funding. We could probably make it without it, but it won't be pretty. So the thing that we need funding for is really to capitalize on the data products, and that's really where a lot of our funding is going to go, is to actual development around the data science portion of this platform. So we are going to have our beta out in June. We're raising, $250,000 in seed funding to really address the technical lift that we need to do in order to deliver this complex data product to the agencies.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry, I missed. You talked to one person who said there would be $100 million per year. Is that with one agency or nationwide, or what?
So we talked to 3 senior staff from the same state agency, and in a meeting with them, we were breaking down the platform, showing them the prototype, and as we looked at what it would impact and how they could use it, what we broke down and discovered is about $100 million per year for that agency, for one agency.
And then the other question I had is, I think he said, and you said as well, you have data products. What kind of data products again did you have?
So effectively, in providing all this information to groups of nonprofits, entrepreneurs, and other people, based on that user interaction, we'll be able to efficiently map the ecosystem of stakeholders who engage with the government agencies. And so the data product effectively will be a platform so that the agencies can efficiently organize funding around legislative initiatives and like agency directives. So to like make that even more clear, agencies will get a big chunk of money, and along with it, they get like 4 sentences that say, hey, clean up the air in the Central Valley.
So
nothing
data
else.
Is how much money they get from each agency? As well as
No, the data would be, okay, we want to clean up the air in the Central Valley, so what does the Central Valley really need? And who are the stakeholders around clean air, and how do we efficiently address their needs and fund projects so that we can specifically clean up the air in the Central Valley in a really like specific way, right? Because they can't put out a contract that says, clean up the air in the Central Valley, give us your best ideas. That's not how the RFP process works. How it works is, let's fund 20 EVs in Bakersfield, or let's fund a program to reduce single car ownership and improve public transportation.
So like a lot of RFP stuff.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that.
All right.
So the coffee is in the back of the room. So if you want to grab some coffee, if you don't need it, then you're better than me. All right, so our next presenter is Anna. Is that how you say it, Anna or Anna? Anna. With the middle name, of course, right? Yeah. With. Okay. Do you want to hand first?
In this area? Hi, everybody. My name is Anna Liano, and I am the co-founder and CEO of ByteFrost. And our website is bytefrost.com. We sell interactive gift cards. And the reason why I started ByteFrost was because, you know, I have a big family and lots of nieces and nephews. And when they were kids, it was easy to get them presents. And then one year, I gave my nieces, who had become teenagers at that point, I got them these cute little silver cross necklaces with leather lanyard for the chain. Well, I never saw them wear them, and then I don't think they know where they are anymore. So I figured I'm not gonna buy presents like that for the older kids. So I started giving out gift cards. And eventually I started doing e-gift cards because they were just a little bit easier to get to, and I had a lot more things to choose from when I was online. And then at some point I thought, you know, these things are just, they're really impersonal. Is there a way to make them more fun? And the reason why I thought that was because one year I gave them gift cards in a little cute puzzle box, and they had to go and solve it to get it out. And one Thanksgiving, one of my nieces was with me, and I said, hey, remember that puzzle box I gave to you? And she said, yeah, that was so fun. And I go, you remember the gift card that was in it? She goes, it was cash. So I didn't remember what I got her, but she did. And so I got to thinking that because it was an interactive thing, it helped her remember that whole little thing, especially because it was fun. So the company's purpose is to create these experiences around electronic gift cards so that they can be a bit more memorable and personal. And that's the problem, because right now they're boring, right? You give one and they say, oh, yay, thank you, and then who knows, it goes in a pocket or a drawer and they don't remember it the next time. And right now, you can personalize it with an e-greeting card or maybe even an e-video. But those have been around for a couple of years now, and I think they've kind of worn their welcome. So our solution was to gamify the e-gift, which is create these little mini games and puzzles that they have to solve or challenges that they have to complete before they can access their gift card. And so I'm like, okay, now that we know what I want to do and build, is there a place for this to actually get traction? And what I found was that the gift card industry is a $160 billion industry. And then only a little percentage of that, 18 billion, are e-gift cards. So that's little. 11% of the whole ecosystem of gift cards is e-gifts. And then if you pare it down even more, people who bought e-gifts who wanted to actually put a greeting card or video with it, that was only about 5 billion of that ecosystem. And so through a little math, we figured that there would be 112 million e-gifts that we would have the opportunity to gamify. So that's our market. And who's the target customer? It's those folks who wanted to put an e-greeting card on their e-gift. So we want them to choose our product, a little game or a little puzzle to do that. And according to a survey done by the National Retail Foundation, in 2017, 61% of the survey respondents said that they wanted a gift card as a present for that holiday season. So what's the product? It's a bundle. It's the mini game plus your e-gift becomes this experience that hopefully they would remember. And for gift pinball, when they're playing, it says happy birthday as their scoring points. Happy birthday and their name. For the gift jigsaw, we have a bunch of occasion-related images, and then you can upload your own image for it to be the puzzle that they're putting together before they get their card. And then for gift cryptogram, how many people know what a cryptogram is? Just one? Okay, so does anybody know at least Wheel of Fortune, where you're guessing the words? So it's a little bit like that, only it's a cipher. So you have other letters that you're trying to map to. And so then the receiver, they get an email that says, hey, go play this game because somebody sent you an e-gift, but you have to complete this before you get it. They play it, and then it activates their card. So that is, and the neat thing about that is these are browser-based games. So there's no going out and downloading something. It's I hit the thing and I'm playing, and now I get my card. Not go to Apple or iTunes or Google Android things, and then it breaks the whole thing up, and they just decide not to do it. So our revenue model, how are we making money? So when I buy gift cards in bulk, I get a discount. And so depending on the discount that I get, I sell the card at full price, and I get that little margin. So that's how at this point. There are other revenue ideas, but this is the main one at this point in time. Our team, I have a resident millennial so that he can tell me about what's cool in the game space and in the Twitterverse and the Insta whatevers. So he's in charge of that. He's currently at UCSB. He does this as a summer intern. My partner Jeanette is a wicked, smart finance person. When she was in the Air Force, she did finance, and even now, she works for United Health. She's working with money. So she gets to keep me in line when I have these crazy, bright, shiny object ideas that I do every couple. And then I'm the chief gamification officer. I come up with some of the games, and I ask people and ideas, and which I will ask you for ideas as well. So when you're doing a pitch, people say, what's the ask, right? I'm not here to ask for money today. But if I gave you a 3x5 card and a pen, and there's some back there, 3 questions I'd like you to answer. Would you send an e-gift and minigame bundle as a present? What would be a fair price for you to pay? And then sign up with your email address so that we can send you a monthly newsletter. But did you win it? No. So I'm giving away 2 $10 Starbucks gift cards from ByteFrost.com, so you can actually experience what we're talking about here. And these little note cards are going to be the thing that I use to draw.
All right. So
Did I make it?
we were a little bit over a minute over, but that's all right. So we're running. Yeah. Go ahead and stay up here. We're and are you going to do the drawing here today? Okay. So you guys might want to be filling out your cards if you want a $10 Starbucks card, but more importantly, if you want to help one of the startup founders in our ecosystem. So I'll go ahead. I don't have a specific question for you. I'll go ahead and open it up to general questions.
Yes. Thanks.
It's okay, I can use this thing. Okay, so my question for you is actually on the business model side of it. So what I'm reading from question number 2 there is, what are you willing to pay, or what is a fair price? Meaning that the person who's purchasing the gift card is the one who is paying for your service. So I'm curious how much you've explored that not being the case and putting that back on the gift card supplier side. So if I go and buy a gift card someplace, that cost is fully borne by them and not by me. And that's because retailers are willing to give, like Walgreens or Safeway or whatever, a 10% or so discount on the value of the gift card, because they know that the vast majority of gift card dollars are never actually redeemed anyway. So is it possible to put that back on everybody else such that it can be free for me?
So just to shorten that, the question is, how do I not have the person pay and have the people, my suppliers, incur that cost? Yes?
Essentially that, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about like, saying 10% of whatever.
Yeah.
As part of this, that 10% is
So let's see, I have so when we talk about the per game thing, this is why I asked that question, because this would be a future model. right now it's free, or it would be free, and I incur all that cost. But I get the margin on the discount of the cards, right? So right now you don't pay, but I'm trying to see if you can pay. And it would be in the form of a convenience or a service fee or a per game fee. And the reason I'm trying to look at this is because if we come into a subscription model where you're only able to upload your picture if you subscribe to the site, people will pay for that, right? People love to do the selfies. And, otherwise they're at the beck of my sensibilities of what images are cool, right? Okay, so that would be my preferred thing, is for the customer not to have to pay. And that will come when we have traction and I have leverage to come back to those guys and say, hey, I'm selling 100 million of these. Cut me some slack, right? So I have to be bigger to be able to do that. Did I answer your question? Okay.
So
please feel free.
I have a question.
Okay, yes.
The first question that you asked, what would you be willing to pay? Is that just a service fee, or is that for the value of the gift?
It's the service fee.
Okay.
The
I gotta
customer
change it.
always has
I'm not going to give you $40, so.
Yeah. No. You have to pay the value of the gift card that you're buying. It's the game that I'm asking you, would you pay for that? Or for me to provide you this service? Yes, sir.
Two questions. First, can you just clarify, currently you haven't sold any of this, you're using it as an add-on just to sell the card? And if so, how many cards have you actually sold?
So it's actually a bundle. You cannot buy the card by itself. My service is you get it all or not. How many have I sold? In December, because we beta launched in September. In December for the holidays, we sold $1,200 worth of revenue. I want to say that's about 10, 15 cards, because some of them were $100 cards for Christmas.
Can I ask a follow-up question? So I see your white label API licensing, and that might piggyback with what he was trying to intimate.
Okay.
In that area, are you imagining reaching out to retailers and saying, hey, just use my service? Because I think that what he's indicating is that, for the retailer to pay 15 cents, 30 cents per card, that's a lot more money in your pocket than trying to get the end user to pay.
I didn't have it on there. So other growth areas were kind of doing this API licensing part of the deal, but I imagine marrying this with a Venmo or WhatsApp, where people are giving cash instead of just credit cards. And so, right, you're giving your kid in college some cash. Guess what? You have to pay for it. Or it's a present you have to pay for it. So there's a lot of ideas swirling around. We're just trying to get this one concept in first before we start attacking everyone. And I have like ADD. A zillion different ideas every time someone says something. So, one of the... oh, no, go ahead.
You got the next question right here.
So the e-card says, congratulations, happy birthday, you're sending it
Oh, there you go.
via email or something like that. How do you have what is the current technology you have for the actual game?
Our 3D platform is PlayCanvas. So it uses a WebGL kind of background stuff. I'm not a game developer. I'm actually more of a web developer, so that's how we married it. I went out and found game people, and we put them together with the website fulfillment process. And the other thing, really cool thing about PlayCanvas is it's now a mature 3D gaming browser platform. And last year, and I was worried about this because I thought it might go away, Snap bought Play Canvas. So that is now their gaming platform, because they wanted their own gaming ecosystem to compete with Facebook and Epic.
Question here first.
No. No, they.
Wait, you'll be second. There's a second.
Oh,
Not your turn yet.
But
Not
they
my
could
turn.
be. We don't need to. Yeah.
So just kind of a minor thing. What happens if somebody's really bad at puzzles like me? Do I just not get the gift card or what?
Oh no. Yes. You call me up and I'll walk you through it. We
We'll
have
stave off
we have a
Alzheimer's.
support system, but they, if your gift giver was really mean and gave you the really high puzzle piece count, then we would come in and help, or you can call us and we could take that number down so that you could solve it. Yeah. For the pinball, it's cumulative, so if you keep losing, the points just keep racking up, so you never just start back from zero. And for the cryptogram, there's hints up to a certain point, and then if you can't get it from there, I'll keep your card. No. No, go ahead.
so I'm a little bit not up to speed on technology. I'm more of a finance guy. But you give these cards. Now, these cards, you go to the store, you buy them, or you order them over the web, or both?
So we deal specifically with electronic gift cards. I don't handle physical inventory in any way. But I have gift card suppliers. When I say, hey, I need 100 Starbucks gift cards, like because employee appreciation was last Friday, everybody wanted to give Starbucks cards, right? And they wanted to put the little thank you note puzzle for that. I buy from a vendor, a supplier, an e-gift card supplier. And they're the same people who do the physical cards as well. So.
Got a question over here.
So I kind of look at situations and look at where the knot is.
The who?
Where the knot is within a schema, within a business model.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And
because I know that I think I'm perfect, but I'm pretty sure I haven't thought of it all. So.
And I almost stopped listening after the fact that there's a need there for the consumer of both sides. The person receiving the gift and the person giving the gift.
Yes.
Of having something that's more pertinent to them.
Yes.
Right? So understanding the individual more.
Yes.
If you concentrate more on that, your whole business model and everything that you do is going to be completely different than everything you keep on talking about, because you're not utilizing the information of the person, that those two individuals involved, to alleviate their use or other people's use of their information or their data. So as information gets aggregated of theirs, I think the big selling point is, what are you alleviating pain points of them going forward?
Sure.
So then if they become part of your membership, really what you're selling is safety and security, having to do with giving gifts.
Okay.
The value of that is in the trillions, not in the billions.
Okay. Yeah. Just one point as far as what's pertinent to the receiver, because in the end, that's who's most important. We have a gift card where we partnered with Tango Card, and they do a rewards catalog. So if you give our branded card, the person who receives it gets a catalog of 400 cards to choose from. So one of those cards is going to be pertinent to them. And the pictures or games that the person who is giving, I think, is how that personalizes that as well. So any other questions? I wonder if we're... Yes.
Okay, so I did want to say that I do love this idea. I actually received one of these puzzle things when I was a teenager, so I remember that, fond memory.
Good.
So I get that. The other reason I really like it is because it's a really simple idea, but there's actually a lot to chew on there, so my brain is like really running right now. And one of the big things is, you'll discover from this, is I really love customer validation because I was damaged as a child. But so... well, I know. And that's actually one of the sticky things here, is that the person who's purchasing it with whom obviously you have to do validation is not ultimately the person using it who's receiving the gift card. And so I'm curious how you're going about validating those two things, because you have both a message and a platform that has to appeal to both. And so then you're going to run, and I imagine there's also a very large age gap between those two groups as well. So I'm curious how you're going about doing that, and or how you've done that, how you're going to do that, and how that's impacting both like things like game flow, but also things like technology choices.
So the people who buy, let's just kind of talk about the customers on both sides. The people who are buying it are on desktops. They're like me, I'm at work, I gotta send my kid a thing, right? The people who are actually playing it are on their little devices. They're on a bus, they're walking to class or whatever, right? So we knew that we needed to make the platform accessible both on obviously a desktop and mobile, but we needed to also make it accessible so that they weren't having to stop what they were doing to go download an app and things. So we know that that's the receiver's habits. Is there, everyone says, well, we download a whole bunch of stuff, but we're also getting to a point where we have download fatigue. People are like, I don't want to download another app on my phone, right? And I think your question has like so many layers. And can we talk about that? I think we're coming on 2 minutes. I'd love to sit down and talk to you about all these ideas, because those are things that I have to make sure that I look at. So, but yes, and speaking with Mike, who's Mike's last name was Jacobson last night. He was my pitch coach. he saw there's two sides of this. They're not just one customer, and that's so true. It's both. So
anyone
thanks,
have
everybody.
a burning question? Okay, so while I wrap things up, if you didn't fill out the card yet and you want a chance at the $10 Starbucks card, and is that going to be in a puzzle format that we're going to receive that? Go ahead and put your card right there, and you can do your drawing. So thank you for coming to 1 Million Cups. Cameron, maybe you could hand out the one. Where'd Cameron go? One of the prizes that we give to our presenters is a commemorative 1 Million Cups coffee traveler. So Cameron will hand those out. How many people here have startups but have not presented at 1 Million Cups yet? Okay, so it's easy to apply. You just go to 1millioncups.com/Sacramento, and there's an application you can fill out. We have ideas that range the gamut of very early stage, pre-revenue, pre-investment, pre-MVP, and then we also occasionally have someone who's a lot further along. So the purpose is fully educational here for both the presenters to learn from the audience and the audience to learn from the presenters. So we hope you'll consider applying. This is a new location for us. This is the second time we've been at Cap City. We normally have about 25 or 30 people attend, but whenever we get a new location, it takes a little bit of time to build that up. So we hope you'll come back again. Next week, we're going to be at CoWo Campus, which is in Midtown, like 21st and Q. You can always find out where our next event is on our website, 1millioncups.com/Sacramento, on our Facebook page, on our Twitter account, and we even have an Instagram, although I can't promise you that the Instagram will tell you where our next event is, but it does have the URL to reach us. So how many of you get the Startup Digest? Okay, so if you're not getting the Startup Digest, it's a weekly email that has all the best events for startup founders in the Sacramento region. I'm the co-curator of that. It's free to subscribe. If you're interested, see me afterwards. But you would find out about events like this, as well as other things that are coming up. For example, there is a startup weekend happening in Folsom, April 12th through 14th. If you've never participated in a startup weekend, it's a super cool experience. It's for brand new ideas that don't have traction yet, and you'll actually form a team at the event with people potentially, that you've probably never met before. But it's super fun, and how many times can I use super? But it's super. So I hope to see you there. Right now there's an early bird special. It's $75 for 3 days of fun, and that includes 7 meals. The food will be good, and the company even better. The company will be super. So hope to see you there. So anything else, Cameron or anyone have any final announcements? All right, well, as I like to say, you are now free to move about the cabin. Oh, and who won? Did you collect all the cards?